Thanks for joining us today. I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking to you about rest. And rest is an interesting concept at the best of times, yet in the season that we find ourselves in now, it seems to have escaped us even more. And it doesn't matter, I don't think, whether you find yourself increasingly busy because of additional things that you're having to do. Maybe you're having to homeschool, maybe you're working from home, maybe you're still going out to work. Maybe it's just all the stress and pressure of what's going on that is just making your mind feel busy. Or maybe you're finding yourself with lots of time on your hand and you don't really know what to do, and yet somehow rest still seems to escape us, even when we seem to have a lot of time on our hands. And I just would like to talk to you and give you a few thoughts about rest, but then also give you some practical tips to help you with rest and help change your mindset really about rest. Because if we can change how we think about rest, it can actually help us to change what we do and our attitude towards rest and help to bring it within our lives. So here we go. Here's the first thought that I have about rest, is that it's about proximity. In the Bible, Jesus says this: "Come to me, all of you who labour or are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." And as a Christian, I believe that if I come to Jesus, then I can find rest in him. Today you may be listening and may not be a Christian. You know, that's okay. Jesus would still like you to come close to him. There's still that opportunity for you today to say, actually, Jesus, I want to know a little bit more about you. And you can do that by just asking him. I want to ask you to consider what things are close to you. Hopefully family and friends, especially in this season. But there are other things that find their way close to us that sometimes aren't as helpful as having family and friends close by, as having people encourage us. Things like fear and anxiety and panic can be close to us. Things like feeling like I'm on the edge and I'm overwhelmed and there's just too much can feel close to us and almost all-consuming of us. And if those things are things that are in close proximity in this season, then I'd like to suggest to you that move away from them. Gradually pull yourself away. Focus on something else. If you're a Christian, focus on Jesus. Bring him into it. If you're not, that's okay. If you don't want to bring Jesus into it, that's okay. But I would like to suggest to you that you actually move away from those things that are harmful and unhelpful to you to find rest, because those are the things that will keep you awake at night. Those are the things that will run over and over in your mind and not allow you to rest. So what I want to ask you to consider is what is close to you, what's in proximity to you in this season, and look at the things that are good for you and keep them there, but look at the things that aren't helpful for you to help you to rest and move away from them. Take them out of your thinking, try and take them out of your life. And if you're not sure how to do that, get in touch with us. We'd love to help you. Another thought that I have for you about rest is, what are you giving consent to in your life? What are you agreeing with? Sometimes we can agree with the busyness and think, well, I've just got to get it done. I don't know how else to do it. I've got all these things to do and they just need to be done, and nothing else matters. Maybe we're giving consent to fear and anxiety. Maybe we're giving consent to constantly connecting and not putting our phones down and not putting our work down and just constantly being in touch and not just having a break from that for a moment. Maybe we're giving consent to not allowing that work-life balance that we had in place before, or maybe you didn't, but not allowing that to have any place in our lives. Consider what you're giving consent to and consider whether you actually want that to have consent in your life, whether you want to agree with that and you want that to take precedent and take priority. In Psalm 23 it says this, and it's talking about God. "He lets me find rest in fields of green grass and leads me to quiet pools of fresh water." I believe as a Christian that God allows us to find rest. If we go to him, he provides rest for us. But we have to give consent for God to do that. We have to say, God, I want to be with you and find that place of rest. And you know, today, if you're not a Christian, that's okay too. But you have to consider what you want to allow into your life and that you want to allow rest into your life. Give consent for rest to come and help you and provide place of sanity and peace for you. You know, we can take control of what has an effect on us in our lives if we choose to. We can choose what consumes us. We can choose to allow things in or not allow them in. We can choose to give those things time in our life and say, right, I'm going to do that for that period and that's the end of it for today. For the rest of the day, I'm going to do this. And sometimes it's about putting those seasons of rest and recovery into our day so that it isn't completely consumed with doing and being and connecting, because all of those things can add stress and anxiety to our lives, but can add busyness to our minds. And if our mind is busy, then we struggle to rest and our body will struggle to rest. If you're constantly thinking through things, even if you're not doing them, then you will struggle to rest. So consider putting things in place so that you're giving consent to those things that need to be done at certain times of the day, and then the rest of the day you're saying no more to that today. I'm going to focus on rest, or I'm going to focus on my family, or I'm going to focus on having some fun or enjoying myself, even though we find ourselves in uncertain times in a difficult season. The other things I want to talk to you today about is the mindset we have about rest. Very often we struggle with rest because my kids, especially, when I say, why don't you have a rest? Their answer is always, it's boring. But even as adults, we'll find ourselves saying, well, rest is boring. There's so much entertainment out there. There's so much to do. There's so much to connect to and engage with and watch and enjoy. And sometimes those things are great for us and can provide fun and a light relief. But sometimes they also stop us from resting. Don't look at rest as being something that is boring. We need to look at rest and change our mindset and consider that actually it is something that helps us to function. It is something that helps us to be the best us that we can be because we have rested. The other reason I think that we struggle with rest in our minds is that we have short-term goals. Everything that we do is based on the short term. I've got to get this work done. I've got to watch this box set and finish it off. I've got to do this with my kids. I've got to sort this out. I've got to clean this. I've got to go to work. A lot of them are short-term goals. We need to begin to look at life with long-term goals as well. And when we look at long-term goals, it changes how we see our productivity. It changes how we see getting things done, because we're looking longer distance. Well, over time, what does this look like if I keep working at this pace? Over time, what does this look like if I never spend time with my family and friends? Over time, what does this look like if I work and never put rest in? Over time, what does this look like if I'm constantly connecting with people but never actually having time to myself to look at me and to just spend some time just reflecting on everything? I believe if we can change our mindset about rest and realise that rest isn't boring and that rest is about the long-term goals rather than just the short-term goals of getting everything done, then it can help us to accept rest into our lives and begin to believe it's a good thing, so that we can actually think, actually, I want to rest. I want to put it in my life because I know and I realise now that it will help me. It will help me as I move forward. So I've got some benefits of rest here that can hopefully help you again with your mindset. So I'm going to read them out to you. Here we go. Rest increases productivity. Apparently 40% of creative ideas come from break time or downtime. That's nearly half of the creative ideas that we have in this world come from the fact when we're resting. So rest is actually a productive thing. It actually allows us chance for those creative ideas to come in because we stop thinking and trying to work out everything else. Another benefit of rest is this: it helps produce deeper relationships, because if we allow ourselves to rest, then there's more of us to give to other people. And if we've got more to give to other people and more time to listen and receive from other people and not be busying ourselves with, I've got to do this, I haven't got time to listen to you, I've got to do this, I haven't got time to ask you how you are. But if we've rested already, then we've got time to listen. We've got time to give of ourselves, and we've got time to spend together because we feel rested and don't feel stressed with everything else that we may have to do. Another benefit of rest is this: It gives us better physical health, and it helps prevent injury too. Rest is about recovery and about helping your body to recover. It helps when people exercise and they damage the muscles in exercise, then rest is part of that exercise routine because it actually helps with growth and strength. What happens is rest allows the immune system to repair and grow those muscles so that you can go again, you can build again. And it's part of exercise routines that people put in, that they have rest days, because that actually helps them to grow and get fitter. It builds health in our lives. Can I encourage you to help you to grow and be strengthened? Rest is key and important to allow recovery from your busyness and all the things that are going on. And unless you're doing Joe Wicks or one of those things, it may not be a physical thing for you, but it can be a mental and emotional thing for you too. So rest is a great help with physical health and in help of recovery and strength. Another benefit of rest is reflection. Many of us will bottle things up inside and keep pushing them down and pushing them away because I just don't have time to deal with those issues. I just don't have time to think about that. But if we take that time to reflect, it can help us work through those things that maybe we're struggling with in our own lives so that they're no longer all bottled up within us and causing us difficulty from the inside. Another benefit of rest is it brings balance to our lives. It forces us to have an identity outside of our occupation. Many of us have had no choice with this because of everything that is going on. But balance is key. Balance with what you are doing, balance with what you are being helps you to find rest in those places, is only beneficial. Another benefit of rest is it helps reserve energy for us. It's almost like a savings account. If we rest, then it saves that within us. So when we need that energy all of a sudden, it comes from a place of rest rather than out of the dregs of who we are because there's an emergency or we've got to keep going or something needs to be done quickly. Instead of pulling that out of the dregs of yourself, if you've got a reserve built up of rest within you, then it will provide you with energy for those emergency situations when you need to give a little bit more. And rest also benefits us in our minds. It helps us be less stressed because we've rested and calmed ourselves and taken a minute and just let go of all that stress and anxiety. There are so many benefits of rest, and yet so many of us think it's just a boring thing or it's just not helpful for me. I've got too much to do. Look at it in the long term, and it will benefit you so much more if you add rest into your working week and into your daily life. So how can we rest finally? Well, obviously, get some sleep. It helps. Take a nap. Whatever works for you. Maybe going a walk is a way that you can rest just by putting everything in your mind into place as you walk. In the physical, you can just walk those things through and lay them aside. Maybe meditating can work for you. Just focusing on something positive. As a Christian, I like to focus on God and on Jesus. But if you're not a Christian, focus on something positive. Maybe a positive word or phrase, or think about a place that you like to be. Take longer doing things. Stop hurrying. And this is definitely the one for me to do and that I'm working on personally. That I don't have to hurry and get everything done. I love tick lists, and so until that tick list's done, I really struggle to rest. And I'm really working on this in this season and have been doing for a little while, but just calming down and taking my time with things and realising everything doesn't have to be done now, but I can take my time, take a breath, think about things is a really helpful way to help you rest even if you are busy. Just take a seat and just sit. Maybe look outside, gaze up at the stars, find something that you find relaxing. But I think the big thing for us in this season to practically helpful for us is to put your phone down. Everybody is connecting and it is a wonderful thing, and it's such a blessing that we have so much technology that we do today in this season, but it also doesn't help us to rest. So maybe for a little time during each day, put your phone down and allow yourself to just have a little bit of time away from that. And I really believe that that will practically help you to rest. Can I pray for you today? Father God, we thank you that you say that you bring rest to us. We thank you that we can come to you and it says you will give us rest. We thank you that if we rest in your shadow that you are there. Father God, we thank you that it says you want to let us rest. You don't want to be something that stops us resting, but you want to let us rest. So God, I pray that you would give us wisdom to move all those things that stop us resting out of our lives. I pray that you would help change our mindset about rest so that we believe and think that it's important and invaluable to us in this season. And God, I pray that you would help us practically to put things into our daily lives and into our weeks so that we can rest in a practical way. God, I pray that you would be with us in this season. God, I thank you that you are for us. Amen. Thanks for joining us today.